Hello, everyone. Welcome to the New Jersey Association for College Admission Counseling College Fair. This is the SUNY 101 presentation. We're so excited to have you participating in this event. We have some fantastic schools here with us today. My name is Sarah. I will be your facilitator. Before we get started, a few housekeeping items. Your camera and microphone are off, so the panelists cannot see or hear you. You can use the Q&A button on your screen to type your questions to our presenters at any time. We do have some upcoming sessions happening, so be sure to check the schedule on the website. And this presentation is being recorded and will be available at strivescan.com/New Jersey. I'd now like to turn it over to our first presenter, Irad, and take it away.
Thank you. So good evening, everyone. My name is Irad Fantapool, and I'm the Assistant Director of the SUNY Welcome Center, located in New York City in the borough of Manhattan. And as the SUNY Welcome Center, our goal is to help students and families learn more about SUNY and who we are as a system. And we serve as the main hub for all that city in New York City, so that as families begin to learn more about, as students get to learn more about who we are, our goal is to help them learn about our campuses and our programs, and hoping they'll find a campus that's the right fit for them. So as you may know, SUNY is an acronym for the State University of New York. We are the largest comprehensive system of universities, colleges, and community colleges in the United States. We have 64 individual campuses within our system. And because we have so many campuses, we have over 394,000 students currently within our system and over 3 million alumni. We have alumni that have gone on to be famous in many professional fields, nationally and internationally. We have over 4,356 undergraduate programs. So we have everything from A through Z, from architecture to zoology, as well as other programs in between, as well as even those who want to be undecided. You are allowed to actually apply and enroll as an undecided student and navigate and figure out what you want to eventually do. We have 46 honors programs, and all of our four-year campuses have honors programs in addition to some of our community colleges. We offer over 23,000 course sections available online, and that's to allow students to actually be able to take courses that's going to help them to ensure that they graduate on time and also serve the adult learning population as well. We also have 59 transfer paths within SUNY, so students have the opportunity to transfer from one SUNY to another with ease. Now, our 64 campuses are broken down into 4 sectors. We have our university centers and doctoral degree granting institutions, university colleges, technology colleges, and community colleges. And tonight you're going to hear from a university center and a university college. Now here's a map of our university centers. As you can see, all of our university centers are concentrated mostly within the central part of New York State and the downstate part of New York State, with the University of Buffalo pretty much out west, right? Now, the University at Buffalo, Binghamton University, University of Albany, and Stony Brook are known as the Big Four. These are the 4 most competitive university centers. They are the most popular as well. They usually receive the most applications every year. And these 4 institutions are the type of institutions that offer a variety of degree programs, at least 100 degree programs at each campus. You'll also notice on this map, you'll see Cornell University. And you may be asking yourself, why is Cornell on this map? And that's because Cornell University is an Ivy League school and a private school that has a partnership with SUNY, as well as Alfred University, that's a private institution as well. And here's our map of our university colleges. As you can see, our university colleges are a little more spread out within New York State. In Western New York, you'll have schools like SUNY Fredonia, Buffalo State, SUNY Geneseo, which is near the Rochester area, and is actually one of the 2 most competitive campuses in this sector. The other is SUNY New Paltz, which is located in Dutchess County in New York State. And also you see on this list some other familiar schools such as Purchase. For those who are interested in degree programs like visual performing arts, Purchase is well known for that, as well as Oswego, who offers great programs in the areas of education, as well as journalism and broadcasting communications. And then you have our technology schools. So unlike the other maps where you saw a lot more schools, the technology colleges represent the smallest sector of schools. So with these colleges, you have a total of 7. And if you notice, they're pretty much scattered throughout New York State. Most of them concentrate within the central part of New York State. You have SUNY Canton way up in the North Country in upstate New York, and Alfred State College in the western part of New York State. In the downstate territory, you have Maritime College, which is located in the Throgsneck section of the Bronx, and Farmingdale, which is located out in Long Island. And the unique program that they offer is aviation. If you want to become a pilot, that's a school you might want to consider. And here's a map of our community colleges. Now, as you can see, our community colleges are spread all over New York State. Anywhere you see a community college, I guarantee you that there's either a four-year campus within the same town or city, or not too far within less than a 20-mile radius. And you'll find that in every sector. So whether it's a university center, a university college, or a technology school. Now, here's the cost of attendance. So there's the cost of attendance, the breakdown for a New York State resident and the out-of-state resident. For the out-of-state resident, that's what you see on the right-hand side. So this gives you a breakdown what the annual cost would be. One thing to keep in mind is transportation. Depending on where you go to school will depend on the type of transportation you'll have access to. If you're in a metropolitan area like a Buffalo or Albany, Syracuse, Rochester, you'll have more access to transportation, whether it's car, bus, train, plane, versus other parts of the state where it's more rural areas, you're most likely relegated, to either just a car or a bus. And this is the cost for our community colleges. As you'll notice, the community colleges price is less than the four-year campuses. SUNY has continued the test optional policy, which we started last year. So this test optional policy extends to the class of 2022. It currently applies to the spring of 2022, fall of 2022, and spring of 2023 terms. And this applies to nearly all bachelor degree programs. Certain campuses might still require an SAT or ACT score for a particular bachelor degree program. So it's very important that when you are reaching out to any campuses, inquiring about information about a program, find out whether or not an SAT or ACT score is required. Now, the test optional policy, even though we have that, test scores might be required, as I mentioned, for some admission programs. It might be required in certain cases for merit-based scholarship, even though SUNY as a whole have collectively adopted the test optional policy for merit-based scholarships. International students may be required to take the SAT or the ACT to demonstrate English proficiency. And then any students that are interested in participating in Division I school must meet all NCAA eligibility requirements, including testing. This would be the schools like Binghamton, Albany, UB, as well as Stony Brook, because these are D1 schools. Research. Now, this is where you want to start your research. If you want to know more about SUNY and where to start, where do you begin your research? You go to suny.edu/attend. It'll take you to this page. Before you get to applying, you want to do a research maybe by campuses or by programs. If you do it by campus, you'll be taken to a page where you can actually look at the campus map and see a map of all the SUNYs together on one map, or even select certain campuses. And then once you go on that page of the campus, it's going to give you different links that you can actually navigate, whether it's admissions link, transfer link, link to do virtual tours, there's financial aid. So you'll find that on those pages as well. If you do your search by programs, you'll be able to do your search based on finding campuses that have the certain degree programs that you're interested in. And this is the end, and I'm gonna pass it over to the next person, which would be Allison at University of Buffalo.
Hi, everyone. I'm excited that you've joined us here tonight to learn a little bit more about SUNY. Let me just pull my slideshow up. All right. And I'm gonna turn my camera off because I find myself extremely distracting on the video. So, like we said, the University of Buffalo is one of the university centers within the SUNY umbrella. And so I'm going to go over some information about UB. There are going to be similarities and differences between the university centers, but I'm the university center you've got tonight. So there are many things to love about our university, but the best part may be the people who go here. UB's students are bold, bright, and talented. Our diverse scholarly community will inspire you now and for life. As a UB student, you'll meet other students, faculty, and staff from all over the world. You'll learn from their experiences and share your own as you go on your UB journey together. All right. As you're researching universities, we know it's important to find a place that feels like the best fit. Here's a glimpse of what UB looks like. We have about 32,000 students on campus. About 22,000 of those are our undergraduate students. And again, I said we have students from all over the country and all over the world, 48 states represented on campus. You know, if you know anybody in North Dakota or South Dakota, if you can send them my way, we can round it out to an even 50. But we really have a nice little microcosm on campus. UB is consistently recognized as one of the country's leading public research universities. We're proud of our reputation, which has been built on our commitment to academic excellence, incredible value, and our community of real-world thinkers and doers. UB is one of 66 institutions in the Association of American Universities, a prestigious group of America's leading public research universities that are at the forefront of breakthroughs in education, research, and discovery. Here you'll learn from thought leaders who are at the top of their field. UB's commitment to big thinking is the key to attracting expert faculty who create the learning environment you'll thrive in. Fun fact, the other major 4 university centers, so Stony Brook, Binghamton, and Albany are all also part of the Association of American Universities. So we're in good company. The research centers are really where you're going to find a focus on research throughout your education. Excellence means we prepare our students in the classroom and beyond so they're ready to make their mark on the world. We offer over 140 undergraduate programs and 55 combined degree programs. This means more unique opportunities for you to explore. And with all of those programs, that makes UB the most comprehensive of the university centers. And we are the largest of them too. So be prepared. We're a big deal, at least in my mind. When you're looking for a college that offers excellence and affordability, it's hard to beat the value of a SUNY education. Even for our out-of-state students, it is an affordable education. I'm not going to say cheap because let's face it, college is always going to cost something, but at least this will save you a few dollars going to UB or any of the other SUNY campuses. UB itself does have scholarships for out-of-state students. And I know our fellow SUNY campuses also have out-of-state scholarships. So make sure whichever campus you are looking into, you're asking about their out-of-state scholarship policies. We are consistently ranked as Kiplinger's personal finance best value institution because of our high 4-year graduation rate, low average student debt at graduation, and abundant institutional aid awarded and our overall great value. We process over $360 million worth of financial aid and scholarships every year at UB. Buffalo isn't a college town, it's a college city. We have 3 campuses spread across the 2nd largest metro area in New York. The diversity of things to do around here is matched only by the diversity of our student body. Buffalo is the center of it all, again, in my mind. There's 1-hour flights to most major cities in the Northeast. We are about an hour and a half from Toronto. We're a half an hour from, well, probably less than that, from Niagara Falls. So we have a lot to offer as a city-oriented campus. Buffalo is also known as the city of good neighbors. Our communities are welcoming and diverse and have helped us earn the distinction of America's friendliest city. So make sure you come with a smile. All right, so I can't say that these are the deadlines for all the university centers, but it is for UB. So make sure if you are looking at a Binghamton or an Albany, that you're making sure that you ask about their deadlines. We have 3 deadlines. There's early action. That deadline is November 15th. Early action means that it is non-binding. But you will get notification of acceptance earlier. The more important deadline, especially for out-of-state students, is our scholarship consideration deadline. I know that Binghamton and Stony Brook both have similar deadlines for scholarship consideration. Ours is December 15th. There is no extra application that you have to complete in order to be eligible for scholarships. You just have to have your application for admission with all of these supporting materials. So your transcripts, your recommendations. We are test optional for fall 22, and I think you will find that across SUNY that we're a test optional, and Ray can correct me if I'm wrong, for fall 22. But if you choose to submit test scores, they need to be to us by that December 15th deadline to be considered completed for that scholarship consideration, and then we'll automatically review you for scholarships. And then our regular decision deadline is February 1st. You can always catch UB, and I'm sure the other university centers have their own social media that you should check them out on. I know Instagram is the hot ticket right now, so make sure you're looking for us on Instagram and the other SUNY schools on Instagram to keep up with what's happening on campus. That we post about deadlines and things on there, but you're talking about applying to college. You kind of want to see what the spirit of being on that campus looks like. So that is what I have for right now. I'm gonna pass it over to Oswego.
Thank you, Allison. I appreciate it. I will share my screen. Okay, hi everyone. My name is Miranda. I'm an admissions counselor from SUNY Oswego. I'm also joined by Ray Morris. He's the regional admissions counselor stationed in New Jersey. So Ray, if I'm missing anything, please feel free to chime in at any time. But I'm now an admissions counselor at SUNY Oswego, but I was a former student. I graduated in 2017 from Oswego, and I was a student from New Jersey. So I was an out-of-state student coming from New Jersey. Oswego quickly became my home away from home. I now live outside of Oswego and I work for Oswego. So it means a lot to me. And it's just been great to be a student there and now work there. So let's get started. So Oswego, it's one of the university colleges, and it was founded in 1861. Originally, we were founded as a teacher's training school. So we taught innovative teaching methods for that time. And then in 1948, we joined the SUNY system. Now, being a student from New Jersey, I had no idea what SUNY stood for. So SUNY, like we've talked about, stands for the State University of New York. There's 64 campuses. We're all very distinct institutions. We have 700 acres or 1 mile of Lake Ontario shoreline. It's a really beautiful backdrop for the college experience. It is one of the Great Lakes though, so it does get pretty cold. You can't be afraid of the snow or the cold weather at Oswego, but our students try to make the most of it. They pile up snow in the quad and do snowboarding, lots of snow angels and snowmen too. So we try to have fun with it. We are a medium-sized institution with about 6,800 undergrads. I love this size, not too big, not too small in my mind. It was the perfect size for me. And it, like Allison mentioned, it's an affordable education, but a quality education within SUNY. So 95% of our graduates are employed or in graduate school 1 year after leaving SUNY Oswego, which we're really proud of. We have 70 majors and 70 minors for you to choose from. So there's diverse academic options for you, and they are split up into 4 different schools or colleges. So the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, that has a lot of our ologies: biology, psychology. Zoology is a really popular one among out-of-state students. We're the only SUNY school with zoology. Within zoology, you can do different tracks. You can do the pre-vet track if you want. You can intern at zoos if you want to do a zoo technology, kind of zookeeper track. And then we offer a lot of research opportunities too within zoology. We have our School of Business. 17% of our student body is within this school. It's a highly accredited school of business. There's 15,000 schools of business in the world, and only 5% have the accreditation that our School of Business does. So we're really proud of that. And then the School of Communication, Media, and the Arts, our broadcasting and mass communications program is great within this school. Everyone's favorite weatherman, Al Roker from the Today Show, he graduated from Oswego, and he still visits sometimes with the Today Show, which is fun. And then our School of Education, that's our founding school. We've been teaching teachers since 1861, also an accredited school. Last time we went through the accreditation process, they said we had 0 things to improve upon. So we're really proud of that. And here's a better list of all of the majors that you can choose from. So like I mentioned, zoology is a pretty popular one among New Jersey students, especially. I was actually a zoology major when I was at Oswego. I worked at zoos for a little while, and then I came back to work at Oswego. But I had many friends that were in the zoology major, also from New Jersey. Meteorology is also a little bit more of a unique one, so that interests some out-of-state students as well. But we have students coming from all over the country. I think Washington, D.C. is the #1 place, and then New Jersey is #2 on the list of out-of-state students. So our campus, we are not too far from Syracuse, only 45 minutes away. Many of our students intern in Syracuse. It's a nice, easy drive. We also have a bus that for $1 will take our students to Syracuse, which is nice. 5 hours away from New York City and 5 hours away from Philadelphia. I'm originally from Burlington County, New Jersey, and it was a 5.5-hour drive for me to go home from Oswego. So really not too bad at all. If I wanted to go home for a weekend, but I never really did. I wanted to stay at Oswego. This is a map of our campus down here. As you can see, we really are right on the lake. Many of the residence buildings and academic buildings overlook the lake. Students can fish in the lake, kayak in the lake, swim in the lake, weather permitting, obviously. So 2 things I like to mention. Off campus, we have the Laker Athletic Hall, which holds our 24 Division III sports. And then this one right down here, hopefully you can see my cursor, that's Rice Creek Field Station. There's a bus that takes our students there, so they don't have to walk there or anything like that. But Rice Creek Field Station is a great spot for biology and zoology students to do research. Really unique environment, 200 acres of wetlands, 4 hiking trails. I know people that have worked on flying squirrels, beaver, deer, bats. I mean, just the list is endless. So lots of research opportunities there. We don't have a ton of graduate programs at Oswego. So a lot of the research opportunities are going to be going to undergrads. There's not too much competition for research opportunities, which is nice. Transportation, important to me as an out-of-state student. You are allowed to have your car on campus. It costs $130 for the academic year. We have a shuttle that takes students around campus and into Syracuse as well, and into the city of Oswego. The city of Oswego has a population of about 18,000, something between a town and a city. It's not big like a city, but not tiny like a town. Lots of restaurants, shops, small businesses. Fall festivals right now are really cute and fun. Apple orchards, parks. So there's just a lot for our students to do in Oswego. And then inside the classroom, 84% of our classes are taught by full-time faculty. If it's not taught by full-time faculty, it'll be taught by part-time adjunct professors or distinguished authors or distinguished artists, lawyers, that kind of thing. You are not going to have classes taught by TAs or GAs at Oswego. Like I mentioned, we don't have tons of graduate programs, so you're primarily going to be taught by professors. 88% of our professors do have their advanced doctoral degree, so they are experts in their field. And we guarantee, part of our Oswego guarantee, which I'll mention a few times, is that we guarantee small classes for our first-year students. So first-year students, you are going to have some lecture classes. Our largest lecture hall holds 300 people, but we rarely fill it to more than 150. But we guarantee you will have some small class sizes of about 19 people. Our average class size is 24, and our student-faculty ratio is 17 to 1. We offer a lot of ways for you to gain communication skills, interpersonal skills, conflict resolution skills, all through experiential learning. So 20% of our students study abroad annually. We have 80 programs in 24 different countries, but it's also important to know you don't have to study abroad. You can do student teaching abroad. You can do research abroad. It doesn't have to be for a whole semester. It can be for a week, for a summer. It can be more on your schedule. You're allowed to student teach abroad in London, Australia, and Scotland. And I had friends who did research on animals out in Australia, so lots of different opportunities for you. We're also big on internships and co-ops for our students. 1,200 participate in that annually. We have an office who does a lot of the work for you. They help you find them, apply for them. They fight for you to get college credit and get paid for them as well. We are big on volunteering at SUNY Oswego. Before COVID, we logged 44,000 hours of volunteering. Lots of opportunities for our students to get out in the community, meet new people, doing something new. Adopt a grandparent is a really popular one. My favorite community service opportunities are called alternative breaks. So instead of going home for winter break or spring break, you go on an Oswego coordinated trip to Alabama for Habitat for Humanity or Virginia to help rebuild hiking trails. You get really close to the group of kids you go with on those trips. And then student life beyond the classroom, we have a lot going on outside of the classroom. I always like to say there's really always something to do and someone to do it with. It's a really fun community. So we have 200 clubs and organizations for you, everything from badminton club, cheer club, Harry Potter club, bowling club, chess club, lots of different options. We have 2,000 jobs for our students on campus. They don't need to have any experience at all. It's a nice way to get extra money in your pocket or to help pay for college. We have 24 Division III sports. So Division III is nice if you want to focus more on your academics than your athletics, if you want to be seen as a student first and an athlete second. We basically have every sport except men's volleyball and American football. Hockey is definitely our biggest sport at Oswego. It is a way of life for sure. Our rival is SUNY Plattsburgh, another SUNY school. Whenever they come to play, it's called the whiteout game. Everyone wears white, screams, yells, just a really, really fun event to attend. If Division III sports are a little bit too much of a time commitment for you, we have 19 competitive club sports you can be a part of. They still travel, still practice a lot, but just not as much time devoted to it. And then 2/3 of our students participate in intramural or recreational activities. One of the most popular ones is broom ball, when our students go out on the ice hockey rink and push a ball around with a broom. It's like hockey, but they're wearing sneakers and using a broom. So that one's a fun one to watch for sure. And then just pictures on the bottom shows things you can do on campus. I like to point out WNYO, the student-run radio station, where you can have your own podcast if you want. I just think it's really cool that undergrads get to handle that sort of equipment as soon as their first year. Residence life and housing. So living right on the lake is a really unique, fun experience. You're required to live on campus your first 2 years, and then you can move off into the city of Oswego if you like, but you are guaranteed housing all 4 years. So we have 13 residence communities plus the village townhomes, which are down here. Those are for upperclassmen, but we have a variety of different living experiences you can choose from. So if you want to live in a high rise where it's always busy and exciting, lots going on, we have that. If you want a 24-hour quiet floor, we have those. If you want a gender inclusive hall, we have that. First year students can now have a single if they like. We also offer residence life programs for credit. So the one I always like to mention is our first year experience in Johnson Hall. So Johnson Hall is made up of only first year students. So you're not going to be living, right next to a senior or a junior, all first years. And everyone's in the same boat. No one really knows what they're doing. They just want to make friends. Everyone has their door open. It makes it really easy to meet people, especially as an out-of-state student. It makes it really easy to transition from high school to college, meet your core group of friends. I lived in Johnson Hall, met my best friends in Johnson Hall. I met my fiance in Johnson Hall. So I absolutely loved living there. You're required to do volunteer service hours to live there. Just helps get you out in the community doing something new. We have 5 on-campus dining halls, all connected to residence halls, which is good to know when it gets cold in Oswego. We are open breakfast, lunch, and dinner, obviously. We serve really great food. We're actually #1 in Central New York for dining experience. And we have a full-time dietitian who, can accommodate any sort of dietary need or restriction you may have. This is an aerial picture of our campus. This is Johnson Hall down here. You could potentially have, a room overlooking the lake your first year, which is really nice. And then this one up here, this is Shinneman, our brand new STEM building, underwent a $118 million renovation. There's an observation deck on top that meteorology students use to release weather balloons or observe, the unique weather phenomena of being right on a Great Lake. So the application process, it's either via the Common App or the SUNY app. We have no preference. Common App is really great if you're applying to, one SUNY school and a lot of other private and public institutions. SUNY app is really great if you're applying to lots of SUNY schools. Just like Allison, we have early action, which is non-binding. So if you get in, you don't have to go to Oswego. You can, change your mind if you want. Just apply by November 15th and you'll get your decision by December 15th. But for fall, we're really rolling, so we can accept applications, up until pretty close before the fall semester. But we like to say, please apply by January 15th if you want priority scholarship consideration. Anything submitted after that is just based on space and availability. I always like to recommend, though, just submit your applications before Thanksgiving, get them in before the holidays so you can enjoy the holidays. We need your high school transcript, only one letter of rec, and then an essay. Same prompts are on the Common App and the SUNY app. It's up to you. We are SAT, ACT optional, like they mentioned. If you do submit your SAT, ACT scores, we will only use them to help you. So if they help you for scholarships or admissions, we will use them. If they don't, we will remove them from your application so they can't hurt you. None of our programs require an SAT, ACT, anything like that. Our average GPA is 91. Our average SAT is 1190 and ACT is 26, but we got a lot lower and a lot higher than that too. Important to note that all applicants are immediately considered for merit scholarships when you apply, which I will talk about soon, the scholarships. No separate applications for those. How it works is you apply, get accepted, and then we'll let you know what scholarships you received. No transfers here. So these are the costs. There is a difference between in-state and out-of-state, like we mentioned. One thing I like to point out, though, is that room and board is the same for in-state and out-of-state, and that's actually part of the Oswego guarantee I was mentioning. So we will freeze the cost of your room and meal plan. So whatever you were paying your first year at Oswego for room and board, you are locked into that price. You won't have to pay more sophomore, junior, or senior year, which is nice. At some other institutions, it could potentially increase 10% a year, but not at Oswego. You're going to be paying that price every year if you live on campus. Scholarships. So we have some first-year student scholarships based on your GPA and SAT or ACT if you submit those. So our highest one is the $20,000 presidential scholarship. That will give you $5,000 every year, so it's renewable. And I think that's for 96 to a 99 GPA. And then 14,000 Dean, $3,500 every year. That's for like a 93 to a 95 GPA. And then $8,000, $2,000 every year. That's for like a 90 to a 92 GPA. To keep these scholarships, you need to have a 3.0 GPA at the end of each academic year. So if you dip below, you have the spring semester to bring it back up. We really want you to keep your scholarships. But the most important one I want to mention to you guys, since we're talking to New Jersey students, is our out-of-state student scholarship. So this is stackable with the other first-year merit scholarships as well. So you could potentially get both of them. So we have a $36,000 Destination Oswego scholarship. It will give you $9,000 a year. There are no merit requirements for this. As long as you are admissible to SUNY Oswego, you will get the $9,000 a year Destination Oswego scholarship. It is renewable as long as you are a full-time student and live on campus all 4 years. Financial aid. Financial aid is important. Many of our students receive financial aid. Fill out the FAFSA if you want to be eligible for grants or loans. How it works is you apply, get accepted, then our financial aid office will review your FAFSA and let you know what grants and loans you're eligible for. At the same time, you'll know what scholarships you receive. So you get to have a really great idea of how much you can expect to pay at Oswego. So these are our socials, phone numbers, emails. Feel free to reach out to us anytime you need anything. And thank you so much. I'm going to pass it over to Ray.
Thank you, Miranda. I can't do much more than you did.
Sorry.
So really, no. I really appreciate all of your work. As see, I think these folks invited me onto this panel because it was like take a senior to an event night. I'm a little bit older than other folks on the panel, but my background with Oswego, I was a guidance counselor in Vernon Township, New Jersey. So I'm a Jersey guy for most of my 40 years. in New Jersey, I've been retired for 8 years. And my connection initially was that my son started to look at Oswego. When I was a counselor, I did have quite a few students that chose the SUNY system, one of the campuses in the SUNY system. But I knew that my son was interested in technology education, one of the other unique majors we do have. So folks who are interested in teaching anything from woodwork to robotics to CAD to coding, it's all covered in our technology education program. My son did major, graduated actually with Miranda. He stayed for his master's in technology education and then came home to New Jersey to teach. I wanted to mention just a couple of other things. I know that as guidance counselor dad, visiting campuses all over the country from the time he could walk almost, just so he was an idea. And honest to goodness, when we went to Oswego, we were about 10 minutes outside of town, and he said, "This is the one for me." And he stuck to it, did early decision. At that time, we had early decision, and boom, he was done. He loved it from day one. He was a recruited athlete, track and cross country, had a terrific experience doing that. But above and beyond that, you can read and view all of the slides that Miranda talked about, but I think I like to just throw out some ideas about what mattered to my son. And the biggest thing that mattered to my son was that somehow, some way, he felt like he mattered. And all of his early experiences, meeting professors, meeting some of the admissions folks, meeting coaches, and so forth and so on, that's the one comment that he made that his teammates, who also asked his classmates, I all got that kind of an answer. Well, gee whiz, just feel like we matter here. And that was just so important to me to know that if he matters, he's going to be healthy and happy. If he feels like it feels like he matters. And so that was really for me something special. Also something special for him. It was also the kind of a campus where opportunities presented themselves. For example, beautiful lighthouse in the harbor for the shipping that comes in and out. Well, it was a mess in the fall of 2013 until a member of the Harbor Society came into one of his classes and asked for volunteers to help restore the lighthouse. Wasn't glamorous work. It wasn't anything that he and his classmates thought about. You know, we're not going to Oswego to restore lighthouses. But it was such a wonderful experience, really a life-changing experience for him, because as a result, he joined the Harbor Society, got his scuba license, and became kind of a boat guy. The other thing was they were on a training run through campus early freshman year, saw a bunch of abandoned bikes. They knew they were abandoned because they were there day after day on the ground, went to a professor and said, you know, we could take all these bikes and repair them and start a bike share program. Next they knew, they gave my son and his friend $500 in seed money to buy tools to set up a shop. Next thing you know, there were 60 bikes on loan and bike share, and they actually paid them $500 a semester. I tell those stories because they were just two examples of opportunities that nobody goes to college to do. You focus on your major, you focus on this or that, but it's those unknown, unaffected opportunities that so many Oswego students have told me about that really makes one thing certainly that makes our campus very unique. I think we have a few more minutes for questions, and Irad or Sarah to come back.
So I think one of the things we can touch about on as the SUNY system is the opportunities that are available, SUNY wide or, interwoven into SUNY. I think one of the major things is study abroad programs. So each campus has its own study abroad partnerships, but being part of the SUNY system, you can really attend any study abroad program through any of these 64 campuses. So if I have a student at UB that wants to go to study abroad through any of the programs available at Oswego, they can absolutely do that, and vice versa. I know back when I was a student, which I might be aging myself on this one, you had to, in order to study abroad through a different SUNY school, you had to transfer to that school and then study abroad and then transfer back to your original home school and I all hope that your credits transfer, and that they've definitely smoothed that out to make it a more fluid system. There's like the library loan program. So 64 campuses, there's lots of volumes of research that you can go through. They're not necessarily the same books at every single campus, and different campuses have different specializations. So if you are interested in a book that UB has and you're at a different campus, you can go to your library and that book will be to you in 2 to 3 days, and you don't have to pay the $130 that it'll cost you to order on Amazon. So there's lots of little programs like that across SUNY that really add value SUNY-wide.
Yeah, and what I'll add is, as as everyone who's viewing this is learning about the campuses, one of the things when it comes to deciding on the campus you're interested in, because we have 64 campuses, they're all a different variety. Baskin Robbins has 32 flavors, we have 64, so we double, right? And with every campus, it's going to depend on what's the right fit for you. What type of area? Are you somebody that wants urban area? Are you okay with a suburban area? Are you okay with rural? Right? That matters. Your campus size. Do you want to be on a campus? UB has a lot of students. UB is an amazing school, right? But 20,000, 21,000 kids might be too overwhelming for some, right? And, maybe you want smaller number, right? So university centers will have the larger number of schools. University colleges, a little less. And then a little less more of the tech schools. Community colleges will throw you for a loop because every community college is not the same. Some community colleges got 15,000 students on a campus. So, it varies. But this goes to show that we offer so many different options for students. So it's all about what's going to be the right fit for you. What campus is a great fit. No matter what SUNY you go to, you're going to get a quality education. You're going to have the opportunity to meet amazing people and also be part of a great alumni network like our colleagues here that's presenting tonight. So.
Miranda, the question in the Q&A from Sophia might be a great one for you to answer.
Yes. Thank you, Allison. I just saw that at the same time as you did, I think. Yeah, so Sophia asked, what are the main difficulties faced when applying or attending SUNY if it's out of state for you? So it's a really great question. I had a great time at Oswego. I was initially homesick, though, to be honest. I mean, being out of state in a whole different community, the diversity was totally different. The students were totally different from what I was used to. It's hard to transition from high school to college. I think it's harder when you're going out of state for college, for sure. But it gets hard, but it does get easier, definitely. And then another difficulty is, sometimes students go home easily for breaks. Like your friends can just drive 30 minutes away to go home, but you have a little bit further of a drive. So just planning ahead for things like that. But to be honest, it got easier for me. It got easier for many of the other out-of-state students I knew. So not too many difficulties, a lot of pros, I thought. But yeah, visiting was definitely important. Like Irad said, definitely visit colleges to make sure it's the right fit for you, to see what the community of students is like, to see how they treat each other. Open houses are great days to go for a visit. You usually don't have high school that day, but college is in session, so you get to see what a busy campus community looks like, as opposed to coming on a weekend when, college kids might not wake up till 2 p.m. that day, and you might miss all the college students because they're still asleep. So definitely come on an open house if you can to get a good feel for the campus.
Yeah, and I will say, like, you have two of the campuses that are known for being snowier, but they're both incredibly popular campuses with students from downstate or out of state. And I hear it on a regular basis when students come on campus. Like, you just don't get Buffalo and you don't get Oswego until you see them. It really makes a difference getting on campus. And the snow is not that bad.
No.
I know that the only thing my son would ever say to me when I asked about whether, he said, "Dad, there's bad dressing for bad weather. You dress the right way. So young ladies that are out there, 2 new pairs of Uggs right off the bat, a couple of North Face jackets, you'll be fine."
Yeah, we always like to say there's no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothing choices.
That's right.
Make sure you have a jacket with a hood, because the snow won't get you, but the wind will.
It's the wind. The wind is the worst part.
I
I
think
wanted to,
so.
is-
Oh, go ahead, Ray.
Go ahead. I just wanted to one more thing about you know, the uneasiness of that freshman year. I think it's going to happen no matter where you are. One of the things that helped out my son, and he did live in Johnson Hall as well, his first year, but one of the things that helped out my son was joining the Facebook group to try to find a roommate. And he, you know, we live in this small rural of New Jersey. And at some point he said, "Dad, I think I found my roommate on this Facebook group. We're so much alike." And it turns out he was a young man that looked a lot like Irod and from the Bronx. And they moved in together and became best of buddies for you know, still. So it was a great experience for both of them. Yeah.
Looks like we have one more question in the Q&A. How would being part of the SUNY program be different for someone who is out of state compared to somebody in state? And I would say that your journey through SUNY is not going to be any different than an in-state student, except for the cost. But I will say, at least from my perspective, and I think from Oswego's perspective, we want to have out-of-state students on our campus. As a public institution, SUNY-wide, it's part of all of our missions to have a diverse campus, and that includes geographically diverse. So you're actually going to benefit from being an out-of-state student coming to a SUNY school. That's why lots of SUNY schools will have out-of-state student scholarships specifically. I know Oswego said that they have that $9,000 a year scholarship. UB has scholarships that are between $10,000 to $15,000 a year for out-of-state students. So make sure you're doing your homework, reaching out to the schools that you're thinking about, finding out what opportunities there are financially for out-of-state students to level the playing field, because you don't have to be paying a ton more than our in-state students if you're doing it right. All right, I think if we have no other questions, we can throw it back to Sarah, and then I think I'll throw my email address into the chat for everybody. So if you have questions for the future, you can always reach out to me. I'm sure my fellow presenters will do the same.
Great, and I'll give just a second for our wonderful presenters to put their contact information into the chat for you. And thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to our wonderful presenters today. When you do close this window, there will be a link to a very quick 5-question survey. We'd appreciate any feedback you can provide. We encourage you to check back to the schedule and sign up for more sessions as they come up. And you'll be available to find this session's recording as well as all of the other session recordings at strivescan.com/New Jersey. And I think everyone has put their information into the chat. So I'll give it just another second if you want to copy that information. And we hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.